The signs were there, but I really wasn't paying attention to them.
I don't know if your friends are meaning to be this harsh. I don't know how they've delivered this to you as well. But I think you could do with a bit of compassion.
You're gonna unconsciously then seek that out.
Yeah.
Because if you really truly believe that you aren't good enough, your brain is gonna scan that.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the therapy floor. I'm Dr. Vicky.
And I'm Dr. Ritz.
And we're going to go straight in with the dilemma.
So we have a relationship dilemma, but I think it's actually more about the self.
Okay.
So hear me out, okay? So this comes in from a lady who is 28 years old, and she says, I can't stop obsessing over my last breakup. I just keep replaying it over and over. I'm not enjoying watching my TV show, seeing friends, or going to work. It's constantly on my mind, and I even go to bed early so that I don't have to think about it. We were together for 3 years, and I really thought that this one was different. But out of nowhere, he ended it. He said he really wasn't ready for something serious. My friends said they weren't surprised. They said I should have seen the signs and that he was never really into it the way I was. And now I can't stop replaying every little moment. And in a way, my friends are right. The signs were there, but I really wasn't paying attention to them. So I actually asked this person, can they just give me a bit more context about their relationship history? And she said, if I'm being honest, there is a pattern. I go all in, I trust, and then somehow it just all falls apart. There was my first boyfriend who kept me at arm's length for 2 years before finally admitting he didn't see a future with me. And then my second boyfriend who told me I was too much when all I wanted was a bit of emotional honesty. And now this has happened. Before that, I wouldn't call it anything serious, just teenage university flings. I don't think I have bad judgment. I choose people that I genuinely care about, but somehow I end up with people who think that I'm not good enough for them. For example, they wouldn't necessarily choose me in the long run. I really can't stop thinking about it. It's messing with my head. Am I blind to red flags? Is it something I'm doing? Or is it just a case of, you know, when you trust people, you give them your heart and eventually they will leave?
Oh.
The end part made me feel quite sad for them.
I mean, there are a few things there. But I think what I really want to pick up on is it's painful, isn't it, when we have a relationship end. Even if it's a relationship that we want to end, it's really, really painful and sad. And we do have to go through a period of grieving, like the loss of the relationship, the loss of the love that we had for that person. Well, not the loss of the love, because you probably still may love them. The loss of like your hopes and expectations of what it could be, your future plans. Like, it can be so, so painful to go through a heartbreak. I think it can be a quite physical thing. But there are definitely things that you can do to ease the process, and I will get onto that maybe later on. But I also want to encourage you to have a bit more compassion for yourself, because yes, it's right to look for signs or look for what could I do differently going forward, but I don't think it's not right to condemn yourself and to, I don't know if your friends are meaning to be this harsh. I don't know how they've delivered this to you as well, but I think you could do with a bit of compassion, self-compassion, and compassion from other people as well, in just understanding and processing this loss and what it means for you and what it means for your future. Because the future, you don't have to give up. Like, there's still hope. Like, you can still have meaningful, loving, trustworthy, faithful relationships, or a relationship moving forward. But there are some steps to take to ensure you get that. That's just what is at the top of my mind. What are you thinking?
I'm having a few thoughts here. So I really liked what you said about hope, and I think I want to come back and pick up on that. But I guess, just coming back to it, if I'm going to open it up and read it again, the flavour that I'm getting from it is understandable sadness and loss, as you said. But also there's such a negative narrative about her being the issue.
Yeah.
Her being the problem. Like the problem is located within you. You're not good enough. You're not the one being chosen. But I think it's quite interesting what you said here. I know you were thinking, have the friends maybe delivered it quite harshly? Whereas sometimes truth can feel a bit harsh.
Yeah.
And, if the friends are saying they're not surprised, instead I should have seen the signs, and you're saying, I'm replaying it all. And in a way, my friends are right. The signs were there. I just wasn't paying attention to it. I'm really curious about that.
Yeah.
Why do you think you weren't paying attention to it? To me, this feels like a self-esteem thing.
Sure.
That were you maybe, not are you blind to red flags, but maybe do you think, I'll just let them pass because this is the best I can do. This is the best I can get.
Yeah.
And so I will be the one who's always left rather than, actually, this isn't working for me. Do you know that behaviour? I'm not okay with that.
Yeah.
So I'll be the one to raise it and bring it up. And the second boyfriend that you said, I was too much for wanting emotional honesty. Can you actually flip the script there? Was he not enough for you? For not giving you emotional honesty? And so could that have been a reason for you to potentially say, this isn't going to work for me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when we're the one that's constantly being left, that is quite devastating. And it's understandable that you'll be thinking, what am I doing wrong? But think about how you're priming your brain then. If it's constantly, I'm doing something wrong, how can I be different? I wonder if it's maybe focusing a little bit on, what are you doing right in these relationships? What feels content and good for you that's maybe not being matched by the partner?
Yeah.
By the history of these boyfriends?
Yeah, I think you raise a good point there about the self-esteem, because even the words, am I not good enough? I'm not chosen. I think it comes from probably a deeper historical place, because you could interpret their behaviour to mean something else, actually. You could interpret their behaviour to mean that they didn't feel like they were enough for you. They couldn't give you what you wanted. But instead, you're taking it as, I'm not good enough for them. And I think that speaks to a deeper issue that you've probably been feeling for a long time. Like, you can easily grasp and hook onto that language or that belief. I'm not good enough. I'm too much. People will always leave me in the end. I give my all to them and then I'm left. And I think there probably has to be some responsibility on your part and intentionality to change that narrative. Because unless you change that narrative, you will continue to meet the same person in a different...
This is 100%.
In a different body.
That priming of your brain. You're going to unconsciously then seek that out.
Yeah.
Because if you really, truly believe that you aren't good enough, your brain is going to scan that.
Yeah, yeah.
You're going to psychologically absorb that. You're going to have a bar and then be like, it can be there.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, that is just how neuroplasticity works, isn't it? Like, our brains love repetition. They love the familiar. So you can't get rid of that, but you can you can lay down a new neural pathway. I also want to touch on something you said, which is,
I said, or she said.
You said, but she said. I think I'm discerning, or I'm a good judge of character. I really deeply care for the people that I trust. I just thought, that doesn't mean you're a good judge of character. Sorry to be a bit harsh there. That doesn't mean you're a good judge of character at all.
Are you someone who likes to save people?
Are you? And you know what? I think that getting to the root of this will mean going down to where this wound initially was inflicted. who was it inflicted with? Was it a parent? Was it with a sibling, a grandmother, a grandfather, a teacher? Let's go back to where this wound was originally inflicted and do the reparations and the repairs around that relationship, not these other relationships. I think these are just the symptoms of a deeper root of feeling somehow along the line that you were not unlovable, but you weren't good enough unless you gave your all, or you felt that you had to give your all in order to be loved. A bit of an exchange there.
Absolutely. I mean, we would call that in psychology conditional love. It's the opposite of actually what you get, for example, from a therapist, which is, you know, you can turn up, be yourself, warts and all, and you're going to be accepted unconditionally. Nothing you can do unless it's like physical harm, mental, emotional harm, is going to stop that therapist caring for you in that way. And I think often sometimes people come to therapy because they haven't had that. They haven't had that unconditional love of, yeah, okay, you maybe I did have expectations and you didn't meet them, but actually as a child, and most likely this has come from childhood, it wasn't your job to meet that. That's the work I have to do as the adult, as the grown up.
Yeah.
I don't know if that gets talked about enough.
No, as in like the role that parents should have.
Yeah.
Well, no. I don't think people necessarily have the words to articulate it. I think people live it out but don't necessarily talk about it.
Yeah.
Whether it's people pleasing, whether it's being a really high achiever, feeling like a failure or a disappointment, and then you kind of fulfill that role within your family. I'm the one who makes mistakes. I think that's how it's acted out, or that's how it expresses itself. But we don't necessarily sit down and say, you know what, I felt like I had to earn your love.
Yeah.
And that messed me up. That set a precedent for my life that has just been unattainable. And yeah, I don't think we talk about it enough.
No. So we'd be, you know, inviting you to get curious on where do you think this is coming from? This approval seeking in a way, this making yourself smaller to fit into another's world, to be accepted into another's world, to be chosen. You know, I'm getting an image of you almost, you know, amongst your peers, like putting your hand up, going, pick me, but not necessarily feeling confident and loud enough to say, like, I deserve to be picked.
Yeah. And I deserve to pick.
Yes.
And I also deserve to choose who is good for me. Yeah, get good at knowing what is good for you.
And this is coming back to that neuroplasticity part of now you have the power to rewrite your script. So I would almost encourage you, you know, if you were to write this back to us, and I'm not saying you have to send it back in, but if you were to write this back to us with everything that we're kind of telling you, how would you rewrite the breakup? What are the changes you would add? What is the way you would speak to yourself about it, where you are the priority, you get to be the one picking, you're the captain of your own team, and you want to pick the qualities of that future partner that you want to have on your team.
Yeah.
This is coming back to the idea of the neuroplasticity, and you have a real opportunity here to rewrite your script. And that's what neuroplasticity is. You know, for a long time, it sounds like the way you've been talking to yourself, this negative narrative that you've been given or been giving yourself through what you've been maybe given in childhood, you've picked that up. And so the pathways in your brain, that's just been strengthened and strengthened and strengthened every time you've heard you're not good enough, and then told yourself, I'm not good enough. And so when we talk about rewriting the script here, it's about reframing how you are speaking to yourself. So for example, if you were to, given this information we've given to you, if you were to maybe rewrite the dilemma, or not even the dilemma, just rewrite the breakup, what you've written here is...
like the summary of it.
Yeah, the summary of the breakup. So what you've written here is something, what was it? So about the second boyfriend, you wrote, I was told I was too much for wanting emotional honesty. So that's quite a negative connotation to it. So how might we reframe that? It would be saying something along the lines of, I deserve and I need, I want someone in my life who can communicate their needs and their emotions honestly. And that's such a flip of script.
It really is. It's kind of taking yourself from the position of being done to victim, I'm at the mercy of other people, to I'm kind of taking the steering wheel of my life.
It's empowerment.
Yeah.
As you said, be the one that picks.
Yes.
Be the captain of your own team.
Yeah.
And decide who you want on your team.
And with that being said, I think there's also something to say about having the patience to wait for that. Because I think if we're struggling with a sense of inferiority and abandonment and rejection, it can be easy to just want to latch on if there's an absence of people, because then we feel like, oh, I'm seen, I'm valid, I'm loved. And it's, can you hold that sense of love for yourself, that if someone comes along that doesn't necessarily fit, not the complete mould, but the minimum expectations, that you don't just cave and say, right, I'm going to go because I can't not have someone. Do you know what I mean? I think there's a lot of people who are in relationships where it's not really what they need, but it's better than having no one.
Settled.
Yeah.
But then what I see in the therapy room is people that have settled, that lack of contentment will come out, and they then end up not feeling content in their relationship, or niggles start to come out in the relationship, and resentment and all those feelings that are attached to it.
Yeah.
With the patience bit, I think what goes hand in hand with that then is the self-awareness, as you said. The ability to know what fits for you and what doesn't, not necessarily that being a complete mould, but just checking yourself.
Yeah.
Checking the situation.
Yeah, this is a perfect opportunity for you to start again. Lay the groundwork, lay the foundations of your life. And this has been a painful time for you, but don't let that pain go to waste. And take out each day as it comes, learn from it, learn what just be curious, or soak it all in, like soak up that self-knowledge that you're gaining, and let that kind of propel you forward into a future that you have a bit more say over. And that's probably a happier one, a healthier one.
I love that. Have say over your future. I hope that's been helpful.
Yeah, I hope so too.
I think this is something a lot of people have probably felt at some point or other in their life. Why do I keep choosing someone who doesn't want to choose me?
Yeah.
So thank you for your honesty. Thank you for sharing that with us, and being, courageous in how much information you really gave us, when I asked you for a bit more. So I appreciate you giving us a bit of your history. And if this resonated for you, if you found any of this helpful, please do let us know. Share it with us. We want to really start a community.
Yeah, we do. We really do. Because I think what this is all about, is why we're on the floor, is because we're talking about the everyday experience that humans have.
Yeah.
And so we just want you to know that you're not alone.
Yeah. I felt it, you felt it.
Yeah. This is life.
Yeah.
Cool. So if you have a dilemma, please feel free to send it to us at hello@thetherapy4.com, and like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.